The Origin of MicSet. Okay, everybody. I think it's about time I finally discuss and reveal exactly kind of what led to the creation of MicSet, why I created him, why he is how he is, and more importantly, at least to me, why I voice him. Now, to get started, I think I should start with when I became a furry. Now, this is probably about 4 or more years ago. I'm not exactly sure when, forgive me for my terrible memory. After I became a furry, I started, well, coming up with my own Sona in Spore, believe it or not. In fact, I'm not even certain if Spore is what led to me becoming a furry, if that actually is possible. But that's pretty much where my first Sona was created, though he's technically a scaly. Anyway, the idea that led to the creation of both Matthias, Latin version of my name if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and his race was a very simple one. I always thought it would be badass to see what dragons, despite the fact that they cannot breathe fire, would become if they advanced. I'm not sure if I'm making much sense here, but that's kind of the simple idea that led to the creation of him and his race. Now, as for why I created him and what he's supposed to represent, well, let's see. He kind of is basically a very strong representation of what I wish to be, more than anything. A dragon, yes, that's obvious. Military-like, I'm not so sure about that, but basically I guess I just wanted to appeal tough. In this particular picture right here, as a very good friend of mine drew for me, I was not meaning for him to be that buffed. But what I can't help but love about this picture is just, if I could somehow make his face look the way I want it to, this is pretty close to what I would love his face to look like. Anyway, I think I've got that covered. There's a little bit more to that, but I think we should skip on ahead to my second Sona. Now this one here is my Dingo Sona, simply named after me. Now, I'm pretty sure some of my old followers may recognize him. He was created by Agoraphobic Blue, or Blue Kaya Kitty, or Jordan Keith. Now, he is supposed to be, instead of a representation of what I want to be, he's more of a representation of, you know, where I'm from. He's a native Australian animal, a dingo. Yeah. And that's pretty much mostly what he's all about. That's just pretty much it. He's a representation of where I'm from. So, why don't I voice this guy much? Aside from the fact that I can't animate, traditionally or by Flash or anything like that, I have tried. It's mainly because I just don't have the thick, cheesy, Australian, stereotypical accent. So, I didn't end up voicing him. So yeah, that's all he really is at this point, just a representation of where I'm from, but he's not someone I feel like I fit voice acting. This also, if we can backtrack to my Dragon Sona, this is also another reason why I don't seem to voice my Dragon Sona much anymore. I just don't feel like my voice suits him. I sound too childish, and I don't fit his build. So, I was kind of having trouble deciding which one should I voice the most, or if I should make a new Sona. And that's pretty much what eventually led to the creation of MicSet. But before I get to that, I should probably explain as to why I created a pony Sona after becoming a brony. Being as the main characters of the show, you know, being female, I started listening in for background characters, but I didn't have any luck. I wanted to voice or dub a character that I felt like, you know, I sound remotely like. I mean, have a look at all these other female actresses that have been attempting to sound like the main six, and there's a lot of them. And a lot of them actually surprisingly do a good job. I'm amazed. And that's why I started envying them. I'm not a girl. I can't pull off a believable feminine voice, and I was so depressed. I really wanted to have something to do with the brony fandom now that I was getting into it. Voice acting is the one thing I enjoy doing more than anything in the world. So, what did I do? Be honest, at that point, I kind of gave up. But then, once upon a time in Second Life, yes, when I visited my first MLP-based sim, I got my first pony avatar, and obviously modified its color to be, I think it's called Rusted Red, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. You know, my favorite color. Before I cover the wings and the eyes, why did I give him a headset, and why did I give him the name that he currently has? Well, before I had this professional studio microphone that's Audio-Technica, back then I used to voice act with a headset that looked pretty similar to the one that MicSet wears right now, but it kept breaking. Now, as for the brand, I think it was a Logitech. Microsoft Logitech? I'm not sure. I apologize. So that's simply why I gave him the accessory. Now, as for the name, Mike, you may think microphone, and you could be right. But the real reason why I put Mike as the first part of his name is because I have a brother named Michael. I have 3 brothers. Anyway, that's why I put Mike as the first part of his name. And obviously, set is reference to headset. So I obviously don't need to explain that part. So why did I give him such a simple and childish name? Because then again, how many characters in the show have such childish and simple names? Quite a few. And admittedly, there's some creative, but instead of going with the creative, considering how dumb I am, I decided to just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Yeah, I'm pretty sure saying simple twice makes your point go through. I'm terribly sorry. Okay, now, as for why I added on draconic or nocturnal eyes, call them what you want, and his draconic wings. Well, simply, at that time, to reference my first Sona, my Dragon Sona. And that's basically it. So, his voice, since I've been told that I'm very... oh gosh. Since I've been told I'm very cute when my voice cracks, whenever I voice him, I intentionally crack my voice or distort... Or is it raspy? Raspiness? Raspiness. Happiness is so much more enjoyable when it's based on the misery of... I'm sorry, I had to go there. Anyway, I'm so sorry. My IQ is very low with this kind of stuff. Woo! Now, that was just his voice. Time for me to cover his personality and why I gave him this kind of personality. Admittedly, some elements are meant to, reflect kind of me. But I just simply thought that it was, the best kind of character for me to play. Considering I seem to be heading with, the classics. I'm sorry for my constant use of the word but I'm a little nervous. Please bear with me.
And have a cupcake!
Okay. Admittedly, he has a bit of a depressing backstory, as most characters, even the happy ones, sometimes seem to have a dark story. Shyness sometimes comes from dark places. So, I decided to go with that. But when it comes to him showing up on screen with, say, his awkward moments or things like... Oh, here's one thing that also reflects on me. The video of MicSet after his first massage. Some people think that they're taking it as a bit of a dirty joke, but actually, though it's kind of my fault, but it's actually supposed to be reflecting on me again. My mother used to take me to the masseur, and I did not like it. I don't like massages, so that was reflecting on me. So that's a little bit of a misfortune for MicSet, and his reaction to it, is a classic little thing I thought would put a few smiles or chuckles on some people's faces, while those that have the perverted minds can just simply think of it like, oh my god, he's gone through that. I feel sorry for him. Oh, MicSet, I feel your pain. It's so dirty. Anyway, that's why I gave him this kind of personality and why I keep putting him in these situations. Classic entertainment. I'm putting on the illusion to myself. I'm making myself kind of think and believe that my character might be canon, but then again, who doesn't want their Sona OC to be canon in the show? Admittedly, it's kind of, what's the word, egotistical? But I ignore that fact. Again, he's kind of who I want to voice act. MicSet is the perfect thing I've ever had the chance to be able to voice act for, and when I do these things, when I voice him, when I show him off, I'm expressing the kind of character I feel like I play well as. And I'm doing this to see if that's true, and so far it seems to be playing out fine. So I'm very happy to say that MicSet is the best character I've ever had the privilege to voice act out of my other 2 Sonas. So MicSet is the best alternative to a character for me to voice on my own whenever I don't have a role or if I want to do a little scene. Now, why have I made him somewhat involved with the main 6? Have connections or conversations with them? Well, aside from them being the main 6, and they're, of course, characters that we all love, I sometimes imagine to myself, what must it be like, then again, who doesn't imagine this, what must it be like to have friends like them? So, and then, here's another one. If I was actually MicSet, and if they were, say, kind of like how they did with Luna, bringing her back into society, imagine how fun it would be to them to try and get a pony like MicSet, who's been shut away from society most of his life, to welcome him back into society and reassure them that despite how different he is, he can still fit in. And even though he's skittish about that idea and still a bit uncertain, but is also beginning to trust them, MicSet is slowly fitting into Ponyville with the help of his new acquaintance, which are soon becoming good friends. So yeah, obviously, it's not canon. I'd like to imagine it is canon, but don't worry, I'm aware it's not canon. So, MicSet is, when I show him off, when I have him interacting with one of the main six, when I'm fortunate enough to have these talented VAs that can do good or decent, if not outstanding impersonations of the main six, I just feel so happy and excited to show a little bit of an own little short that I made up of, well, the main six interacting with MicSet, making him feel a little bit more believable to a few others that like to believe in him, and to make me feel more like I believe that MicSet is a decent little character that could be in the actual show. Of course, I know that's not going to happen, but like Mr. Potato said, hey, I can dream, can I? So that's pretty much how it simply is. MicSet is just simply my dream a little bit, in a way. My imagination. And I do this for a little bit of entertainment to both me and anyone else that actually gives a damn about this character. And I'm surprised at how many actually do so far. So, yeah, MicSet was never really meant to be taken this seriously. I just wanted to feel like I voice act a little character, and I like to imagine that MicSet is one of these characters I feel like I should be privileged to voice for. He's my little illusion and dream. And again, out of everything in the world, I pursue voice acting. I love voice acting so much, and I hope that someday that I will somehow get a job in voice acting. And even though I know I've got major flaws, I just hope that when that time comes, all this experience, all this role-playing, I shall say, as MicSet will pay off. I just feel like voicing a classic or cliched or maybe even unique kind of character, I have a blast. I have so much fun. So that's what led to the creation of MicSet. That's why he is who he is, and that's why I created him. And that's the origin of MicSet. I thank you all for listening to all this jibber-jabbering, but for those of you who actually wanted to know the origin of what led to the creation of MicSet, there you go. You now know. I apologize for anything that I may have left out, but it's hard for me to think off the back of my neck. That, and I'm also being bitten alive by muzzies, so I'm getting kind of fidgety here. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. Ta-ta for now, and thank you so much for the support and following me, as anyone would say. And looking forward to Christmas coming up. I hope you all have a happy holiday. Ta-ta for now, but not forever. MicSet is out! Oh, P.S. Before I forget, if anybody here wants a random Christmas song sung by the beautiful VA of Black Widow, check the description below.